There is a number that has quietly become the white whale of American retirement. $1,500 a month. That is the figure financial planners whisper about when they talk about living within a fixed income without actually suffering. It covers groceries, utilities, medication, and maybe a modest streaming subscription so you can watch other people live in houses you cannot afford. But what it has never covered, not once in the history of sensible retirement math, is a mortgage. Until now. And the catch, and there is always a catch, is that the house in question happens to be underground. Before you dismiss this as a fever dream from someone who watched too many apocalypse films, hear me out. Across the American interior, in states where property taxes are the kind of number that makes coastal buyers laugh before they cry, a quiet revolution is happening in dirt. Decommissioned missile silos, Cold War civil defense shelters, and earth-burned ranch homes half swallowed by hillsides. Underground properties that were once built to survive the unthinkable are now being listed for prices that feel like a different kind of explosion, the good kind for your retirement account. Today, we are looking at 6 underground and earth-burned properties spread across low-cost states where the combined total of your mortgage, monthly maintenance, and supply costs clears that magic number. Some of these are genuinely stunning. A couple are going to raise questions you never expected to ask about yourself. And at least one is going to make you wonder if your homeowners association was actually the worst thing that ever happened to you. A converted missile silo in the Kansas flatlands. Kansas does not get enough credit for its underground real estate market, which is a sentence no one has ever said before, but here we are. Scattered across the central part of the state sit decommissioned missile silos that have been converted into livable underground homes. The purchase price on properties like this lands around $180,000. At a 30-year fixed rate, your mortgage payment sits comfortably under $800 a month. Rural property taxes in Kansas come in well under $1,000 annually on parcels like these, which breaks down to roughly $50 a month. Utilities inside an underground structure run famously low because the earth itself acts as insulation, holding internal temperature steady year-round without a single argument with your thermostat. Budget $400 for supplies and routine maintenance, and your total monthly cost lands at roughly $1,250. The trade-off is that your neighbors are wheat fields and the occasional confused pheasant. One person on a homesteading forum described it this way: the silence is unreal, not peaceful, unreal. Like being the last person on Earth, but with better internet than you expected. An earth-burned home in the Ozark Hills of southern Missouri. If Kansas sounds like too much open sky and not enough personality, Missouri offers something softer. Tucked into the rolling Ozark terrain is a growing market for earth-burned homes, structures built into the side of a hillside with one wall of south-facing windows and 3 solid walls of earth holding everything else together. A 3-bedroom earth-sheltered home in the southern part of the state recently listed for $135,000. The monthly mortgage payment is roughly $580. Missouri property taxes on rural land rank among the lowest in the country. Your heating and cooling costs will drop by nearly 60% compared to a conventional home, because physics, not a smart thermostat, is doing the heavy lifting. Total monthly costs with supplies come in around $1,300. The Ozarks throw in rivers, fishing, and a particular brand of stubborn local charm where neighbors bring venison before they have learned your last name. One Reddit user described it as the mountains, if the mountains were affordable and had actual broadband. A Cold War-era civil defense shelter converted to a residence somewhere in rural Indiana. Indiana does not typically appear on anyone's dream retirement list, but it should, at least if your dream involves surviving the collapse of coastal real estate values while paying less for housing than a studio in Columbus. A former civil defense shelter has been converted into a fully livable underground home with reinforced concrete walls 18 inches thick, a ventilation system upgraded twice since the Eisenhower administration, and a kitchen that is somehow charming despite existing 40 feet beneath the surface. Listed at $110,000, the monthly mortgage sits at less than $500. Indiana property taxes on rural parcels average just over $800 a year, which rounds to about $67 a month. That makes a combined monthly total of approximately $1,100. The catch is that there is no natural light inside the property. None. One former owner wrote on a survivalist forum, "After 6 weeks, I stopped knowing what time it was. After 8 weeks, I stopped caring. By week 12, I was genuinely happier than I had been in my entire working life." That is either deeply inspiring or moderately alarming. And honestly, at these prices, it might not matter which. An earth-bermed homestead in central Oklahoma. Oklahoma has the kind of property tax situation that makes accountants briefly emotional. Across much of rural Oklahoma, the effective rate on residential property hovers below 1%, and parcels further out often come in lower than that. A 3-bedroom earth-bermed home in this part of the state recently sold for $145,000. Monthly mortgage payment approximately $620. Oklahoma also carries some of the cheapest utility rates in the nation. Factor in monthly supplies and maintenance, and your total lands at $1,280. Small college towns dot this region, which means grocery options and pizza delivery that are frankly better than the geography suggests. One local described the area as small enough that everyone knows your business, but big enough that you can occasionally pretend they do not. A converted private bunker in the Arkansas Hill Country. Arkansas is criminally underrated, and the people who live there prefer it that way, which is itself a kind of genius. Across the northern and central parts of the state, private underground bunkers built during the Cold War decades have been converted into full residences with bedrooms, common areas, and reinforced entryways that double as mudrooms. Properties like this list around $95,000, bringing the mortgage payment in at around $410 per month. Arkansas property taxes on rural land are so low they feel like a rounding error. Combined monthly costs, including supplies and upkeep, come in just under $1,000. This is the only property on this list that clears $1,500 with what feels like an actual safety net underneath it. Rivers are usually close. Deer season is a cultural institution across the state, and your nearest neighbor tends to be far enough away that you will never once hear their television. That alone might be worth the price of admission. An underground, earth-sheltered home in the Texas Panhandle. Texas has no state income tax, and the Panhandle has property values that bear almost no resemblance to Austin, which the Panhandle is deeply proud of. Earth-sheltered homes built into natural mesa formations turn up across this region at prices that feel almost confrontational. Properties like this list around $160,000. The monthly mortgage is just under $700. Rural property taxes across the Panhandle on a modest parcel run approximately $100 per month. Factor in utilities, which the surrounding earth handles generously, and your total monthly cost lands at approximately $1,400. The sky over the Texas Panhandle is enormous. Sunsets look digitally enhanced. The wind is constant and occasionally has a personal grudge. But you will own a home with walls that are 8 degrees cooler in August than anything sitting above ground in that zip code, and you will own it for less per month than most Americans are paying to rent a place they do not even like. A local put it plainly, You stop thinking of it as underground and start thinking of it as just home. That is the whole point. The surface world had its chance. The math just does not work up there anymore. If this exploration of underground living has changed the way you look at the potential of your retirement, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the hidden gems in history that the mainstream market has tried to bury. Join us as we dig deeper into the future of affordable living. Our next discovery will be revealed very soon.